Hi, everybody. This is Dave Jones with Storm Center Communications and GeoCollaborate. It is Friday, January 10th, 2025. This is an update for the All Hazards Consortium, the sensitive information sharing environment. All the stakeholders from private sector liaisons at state emergency operations centers to private sector operators from the food, fuel, medical supply, logistics, transportation, communication, and utility industries, so we can all be on the same map looking at the same thing at the same time, just to give a heads up for what's going on around the country that might impact transportation and movement of vehicles and crews. Well, we have two things going on right now. We have a major winter storm that's been unfolding all day. This particular winter storm is taking more of a southerly track and really hammering some of the southern cities, such as Atlanta. We'll dive into that here in just a moment. You can see all that moisture really streaming up from the Gulf of Mexico. There it is, streaming up there. I have turned on also the sea surface temperature data, just so you can see the distinction between the cold coastal waters here and the Gulf Stream and where some of these clouds are forming. The Gulf Stream very often tends to fuel the development of low pressure systems when they move off the coast. This gradient here tends to add a little bit more energy into those systems. That will be the case with this particular one as well, but it'll be moving out to sea, not up the coast, to give a nor'easter that I know many snow lovers would love, but certainly utility workers and emergency managers don't want to see. So this is the GOES East satellite. I'm going to switch over to the GOES West because I want to show you the active wildfires here, and we have a little bit of good news. It's been tragic and devastating in Southern California. These fires fueled by very strong Santa Ana winds, gusting up to hurricane force, and in some cases 2 days ago 100 miles per hour, fueling these fires. And you just can't fight those fires when the winds are so strong. Air assets can't make it up to operate, and it just makes it very tough to spray water when the winds are blowing at hurricane force. The water can't get to where you want it to be. And also, there was an incident with a air tanker that drops a lot of water on wildfires, colliding with a drone that has been up and operating. We haven't confirmed whose drone that was, whether it was private or whether it was being operated by an official. However, this is the danger. As more drones are used in fighting wildfires, it can tangle with those air assets that are so needed. And that put this plane out of commission, which is very, very unfortunate because of all the water it can carry to help the communities. This is what we're looking at right now. This is the Palisades fire here, and up to the east, the Eaton fire. This is up towards Pasadena. One thing that you may notice is there seems to be less smoke, but there's another thing you could notice as well. Look where the smoke is blowing. It's blowing down further towards the south. It's not blowing straight out, which means those Santa Ana winds have died down, which is great. It doesn't mean they've gone away. It just means that they've died down a bit. I've been looking at some wildfire models, and I'll share those perhaps next time. But those winds are forecast to further weaken into the weekend, which is great news. CALFIRE and the firefighting officials that are out there risking their lives are used to fighting fires in Santa Ana winds of 20, 30, 35 miles per hour. And that's the range that we're getting down to. It still spreads the wildfire, but certainly not like hurricane force winds that are spreading wildfires so quickly. One of the things that you can see in this satellite imagery here, I'll drag it down just a little bit, is these are other fires, and the smoke is settling down into valleys, so you can start to see the outline of the valleys here. The smoke is very thick, and also the pollution is thick as well. Matter of fact, I want to show you the air quality. As you know, the air quality gets very bad in wildfires, and this is an example here. These are all air quality measurements in Southern California with the fire perimeters turned on. And you can see here around the Palisades fire, air quality is very bad in these areas. These are also hot spots that are detected from satellite. But now that the wind has changed a little bit, the air quality has improved somewhat in these areas. So it is unusually sensitive people should consider reducing outdoor activity areas just to the south and east. But these are areas that have been tremendously affected by the wildfires. Additional smoke up towards Pasadena is impacting health terribly. Look at this, PM 2.5 air quality, 153, which is terrible. That is, everyone should take precautions by reducing outdoor activity. Go inside to cleaner air if you have any symptoms of being tough to breathe. Some of these areas may be in evacuation zones, so hopefully you're not in there anyway. And you can see how that poor air, bad air, goes all the way down to East Los Angeles, near Montebello, up towards Rosemead and Acadia. This is all very poor air quality shown up by sensors here. And even in downtown Los Angeles, there's 87. The air quality is just not good anywhere in Los Angeles. And that's something that we continue to monitor. But again, look how much has burned from the Palisades fire. This is the fire perimeter here. You can see that. And also there are fires to the north and the west. And this is the Easton fire that's located around Pasadena, and that fire itself is continuing to expand. The town of Pasadena has really been impacted by this wildfire. You can see all those hot spots from satellite, and the Eaton fire shows no signs of giving up. As a matter of fact, the entire Angeles National Forest is closed for public safety and the protection of natural resources through Wednesday, January 15th. So also do not drink the water in these areas because debris and elevated turbidity from the Eaton fire potentially impacted the Pasadena Water and Power's drinking water system in the Eaton fire evacuated areas. So we have a lot going on here. We have air quality from this smoke that is poor. There is better air quality down to the south where the smoke has not been really impactful, but those strong winds have kept the smoke low to the ground. Now that those winds are easing up, the smoke is lifting up a little bit, and so the air quality is somewhat improving, but that is certainly something that you need to consider. Anybody with respiratory issues, elderly, young kids, should stay out of the smoke. Keep them out of the smoke. This is that split screen I was showing you yesterday. Just wanted to bring it to your attention as well. Here's the Palisades fire that's burning so hot still. But the good news is there's not as much smoke pouring out over the Pacific because the winds have shifted direction and they're starting to ease up. I've been looking at the modeling and they're forecast to continue to ease up through the weekend. But still, winds will be gusting to 35 to 40 miles per hour. High wind warnings still in effect. Here is the Eaton fire, and that is continuing to burn as well. Additional evacuation orders are being issued. Since this is a YouTube video, I don't want to tell you what's happening now when something else could be happening later. So please make sure to pay attention to the local media on local evacuations. You can see here again, smoke is somewhat near the ground, but the air quality that I just showed you is improving around this area because the winds have died down. On the right-hand side, this is the Wilshire 2 camera from Alert, California, and UC San Diego. I'll put this into motion, and you can see the smoke remaining above the ground because it has eased up somewhat. Still massive fires burning, but at least it's eased up on the air quality, which is good news. So now what I'd like to do is switch over and show you the winter storm that we're dealing with now. So here we go. This is a full screen, and you can see a lot of clouds really streaming up from the Gulf of Mexico up into the mid-Atlantic now. But in between here is a lot of precipitation. As As a matter of fact, warm air is advecting up into the Atlanta area now, enough to raise the temperature to about 33 degrees at Hartsfield Airport. But that is really not the case everywhere around North Georgia. As a matter of fact, there's freezing rain and sleet being reported. Alpharetta, Georgia, up towards Gainesville. But there's also snow still falling where it's 31, 32 degrees in north central Georgia. Some areas are still below freezing and getting that freezing rain over towards Athens and Toccoa. They're getting some heavy icing, and the forecast is not great for the Atlanta metro area. As this freezing rain continues to fall, they could end up with a quarter to a half inch of ice accumulation, and that is really going to impact power lines and that critical infrastructure. Same thing happening just to the west. It's ending now in most of Alabama. Just a few scattered snow showers remaining in Huntsville, maybe some scattered drizzle. But then Birmingham seems to be done there as the line has moved east. But in Georgia and South Carolina, Charlotte's getting snow right now and 28 degrees, but it does look like freezing rain could be moving into that area over the next several hours. So I'm going to switch over to GeoCollaborate and show you what it looks like from the standpoint of the Winter Storm Severity Index. Not going to spend a whole lot of time on this, but you can see how this severity index has shifted now, and the real focus is from the eastern shore of Delaware down through Washington, D.C. now. It's been expanded a little bit further to the north with some snow impacted. I'm going to zoom in here, and I'll show you what it looks like down in Virginia and also down around North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia. Anywhere that is orange or red or purple, driving is not, it's hazardous. Don't go out on the roads. This is what it looks like. This is from North Georgia, and it includes the northern suburbs of Atlanta, stretching over into South Carolina, just out of Columbia, just northwest of Columbia, but still, this area is minor. Still could have hazardous driving conditions. But this is where the area of concern is for power infrastructure, transportation infrastructure impacts from this winter storm. So needless to say, widespread impacts from this system will be felt through tomorrow morning. Even eastern Tennessee here and into southeastern Virginia. Winter storm warnings are in effect there, and up into now the Washington, D.C. area. The I-95 corridor somewhat impacted from snow that's going to happen. It's going to start around midnight tonight and around 7 o'clock in the morning. So it's going to be a kind of a nighttime hazard, but with snow and cold temperatures around, that snow is not going to go anywhere quickly. Maybe in the afternoon on Sunday, it will start to melt. But you can see on the eastern shore of Virginia, we're also anticipating hazardous driving conditions because of snow, and anywhere from 2 to 4, perhaps 5 to 6 inches of snow locally in some of these locations. Let me widen out here, and I'll turn off the Winter Storm Severity Index, and I'll turn on the Weather Service watches and advisories here. So let's see. I'll turn off the index. That will go away. There we go. And now I want to turn on the advisories. And there's still a lot of them out here. You can see what's going on. This pink area, that is winter storm warnings for primarily snow. Winter weather advisories have been extended north into Fairfax and Montgomery and Howard, or not Howard, but Anne Arundel counties and south. And then over on Maryland's eastern shore, Dorchester, Wycomico, Worcester counties are in the snow winter weather advisory for snow, possibly accumulating 1 to 2. Some local areas could see 3 inches, particularly to the south. But you can see all the advisories that are going on. Back out a little bit even more because they do extend up into the Great Lakes area. So we're talking about a potential ice storm north Georgia into western South Carolina and parts of North Carolina. That's where we might expect some serious power outages. And indeed, we still do have power outages in Texas and also in Alabama and Georgia being reported. There's also about 190,000 people without power in California because of the wildfires. And I'm going to go over there real quick just for a second because I do have a couple of pieces of advice that have been communicated in some telecons that I've been in today. The first one is if you are asked to evacuate in any of the wildfire areas, one way in which you can let your family or loved ones know your status is to update your voicemail. Remember how to get into your voicemail system with your cell phones and change the message. And the message should include the time of the voicemail, your location, and your status. That way, if cell coverage goes down, calls will go right to your voicemail and people will get that information. And that is really something that's very useful. And you'll be able to see what that the impact it has on your loved ones because you'll be able to get that information out. So if you're concerned that you may lose cellular service, make sure you adjust your voicemail message to provide a status of your current location. The other thing is if you're in an area and you have lost power, or you know family or friends that have lost power, but you're able to text them and get them information, flip your front porch light in the on position so utility crews know when they've re-energized the lines and restored power that your home is indeed powered. It's very difficult. Otherwise, they have to go in and look at your meter, look at everybody's meter to make sure that they're running. But if you put the power switch up on your outdoor porch lights, it really can save time. And that little bit of time saved, multiplied by all the people without power, will enable the utility workers to continue on to the next grid. Little time saved helps those crews move on to the next neighborhood. So those two pieces of advice: update your cell phone voicemail with your current location and turn your porch light on. Well, that's it for this update. I'm Dave Jones with Storm Center Communications. Have a lot of things going on. Appreciate you watching this update. I am headed to the AMS meeting in New Orleans for next week. Be talking about a lot of weather technologies, so I may have a limited updates next week, but I may have one or two from New Orleans. Until then, please take care of yourself. Also, watch out for your neighbors. We need our neighbors. We need to keep them safe, particularly if they're elderly or by themselves. Please check on them. It tells them that they have somebody that's thinking about them, and you can get them any supplies that they might need. Thanks again for watching, and we'll talk to you later with an update, perhaps sometime next week. Thanks for watching.